Altcoin and BEPRO video, cryptillions and crypto crackheads. Hey, it's Monday, August 15th, 16th, August 16th, 2021, and turn it up to ×2 speed to get through this content faster and still get all the information and enjoy your initiation of timification. So I'm on the BEPRO chart daily. I have pulled up the 55 and the 200 EMA. One thing that I missed in my previous assessment of technical price action is that after this cross, which just happened, price front ran it and never came back down to touch any of it. Now, do I think that's what's going to happen right now? No, because during this time here, it was the heat of the bull run. It was February when Bitcoin was racing from, I don't know, 28K to 40K, then from 40K to 64K. So clearly we don't have the same type of thing happening right now because we're not sitting at all-time highs. However, I wanted to critique my previous analysis on this, that I was pretty certain that BEPRO will come down to test this daily 200. And in that video, I said by the time it might actually do it, it'll probably be above 0.007, which at this point it is. It is now above 0.007, which if BEPRO price were to come back down to test this at some point in the near future, well, it's going to need to do it soon if I'm going to buy back lower than where I sold at 0.008. So let's just take a look. How much time do I have, if it ever happens, for this daily 200? And again, this angle could change a little bit if BEPRO gets hot or cold or whatever. So I have until the last day of September, roughly. So I might squeak out a barely profitable trade in my selling BEPRO at 0.008, and I did not unstake. And so that's another thing that I want to cover in this video is the hedging your bets, not just by 20 bagging as opposed to selling everything you have in one specific asset. So for example, let's take a look at your portfolio and you can split it up into, for example, pieces of a pie. This is your biggest piece. Maybe you're holding some stable coin, right? So let's just put USD for whatever that you hold is flat. Maybe you hold DAI, whatever. Which holding some Tether right now is probably a good idea. And some of your other positions, like maybe this is, just pure ETH. You're going in on ETH instead of Bitcoin, for example, and you're just hodling. So this is a hodl position. And then maybe you have some altcoins, some large caps and mid caps and small caps, and you have these as hodl positions. Let's just say roughly that's what you're doing. And then this side of your trading portfolio, or just your portfolio, maybe you're not trading, but because hodling is not trading, not trading, not trading. Let's say that this is your trading side, and you're trying to use this to actively increase your overall portfolio by getting profits and buying more of whatever you have. As opposed to using your entire account to trade, and when you take a hit, well, shoot, you just took a hit, right? So it probably is not wise to do all of that. But utilizing a small portion, what a lot of people do not do is they don't reserve a portion of hodling specifically for staking. So in my case, I have BEPRO staked, and I don't plan to allow somebody to take my slot. So I'm going to keep mine staked as long as I can. And I did not unstake that to sell it. I rather pick some up at 0.005, and I pick some BEPRO up at right at a penny, like maybe like this. And so the average of that was about 0.008 of all those purchases, and I sold at 0.0088 when BEPRO went skyrocketing. And this sale that I did was equivalent to this. I was essentially 20 bagging And if you haven't seen that video of mine in my description section, it's a really elegant way to, over time, when you sell too early, you're still okay. But over time, you use a small portion of your bag, and a bag means only of one asset. So your bag of BEPRO doesn't. So if you 20 bag, that has nothing to do with your holdings of Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? So it's 20% of your BEPRO holdings. Anyway. So what I've done is I sold what looks like to be too early. But since I only sold roughly 20% of what I own, this is actually more like 30, but for example, 20 bag theory is that 70 in my case, so I 30 bagged, 70% of my BEPRO holdings were still skyrocketing and being staked while I took that 30 and sold it. So even when you sell too early, the cool thing about having both a staked position, or maybe not in the same coin, some staked position and a trading position, is that when you mess up on the trading side, on the altcoins, and you sell too early, you can move that into another asset that's getting ready to have some type of bullish cross or some type of movement up that might be slightly more than what BEPRO has had. And I was able to successfully do that by getting into Polk, which Polka Markets is related to BEPRO, and I got it down here. So I sold BEPRO around here, something to that effect, bought it, and since then I've gone, it's doubled my money to current price from roughly the time I bought. So going back to BEPRO from the time I sold, is price currently double where I sold? Well, no, it's not. So even though I sold way too early at 0.008, current price is right here, that's only 16%. So having sold too early, if I wanted to, I could sell that bulk or even a portion of it, just get my original investment back or slightly more in order to buy the exact same amount of BEPRO that I had sold. But overall, within that move, I now actually have more money and more crypto, both more USD and more crypto, even though I sold way too early. And while I took advantage of selling too early and I made the best of it by moving it into an asset that moved slightly faster than BEPRO after BEPRO went on a 200 and something percent tear. Yeah, that's a 200. So I sold it after a 242% tear thinking, okay, it's probably doesn't have a lot more juice in it because Bitcoin's going to probably correct. I moved it into another asset that did better. But even though I sold too early BEPRO, still 70% of my BEPRO has been going up in earning interest as I sold too early. So I wanted to show you that general strategy that should show you without a doubt that when you sell profitably, or when you sell, you should not feel bad about price going up further, especially if you sell when something's really hot, because you can move it to another asset that hasn't gotten hot yet, about to be hot, and at the beginning of the move, it moves faster than what BEPRO would at the end of its move. Does that make sense? All right. So even though I sold a little too early, I made the best of it, and I just showed you how. So hopefully you add that to your overall strategies. And once altcoin season comes up and things are popping, you're going to really need to be able to do that and not get caught up on how high something goes, but rather make the most of what you just sold and feed it into something else, or get flat if you think Bitcoin's about ready to take a drop, instead of just constantly looking for your next score, right? So you always have to pay attention to Bitcoin. So with BEPRO, it is very possible that price does not come back down here to check this. However, because it's not a nasty bull run right now, and Bitcoin looks like it might want to correct, I still think that I'm going to be able to snag Bitcoin or BEPRO under 0.008, likely under this line here. So this line is at 0.0078. I think I'm going to try to just catch a wick under here. And if Bitcoin is tanking at the time and BEPRO gets here, I'll probably wait until Bitcoin shows some bullish divergence on at least the 1 hour chart or maybe 2 hour chart, and then I would buy back BEPRO. And so my low end target, similar to what I had in my previous video, this looks like a pretty obvious range. If Bitcoin really takes a dive down to 36 to 35K or 34, I would expect BPRO would hit somewhere in here. Maybe the top of that, 0.004. Actually, no, that's probably Bitcoin even going lower. That's too low. Yeah, that's too low. That'd be Bitcoin sub 33. That would be Bitcoin 32K, actually. Let me try this again. So probably not that low. Let's see here. Probably this wick, this candle body to that. Probably come down here. So this is my target. If Bitcoin goes to where I think it will want to go, around 36K, I'm personally targeting this box here between 0.005, 0.00567 to buy back. So that's what I'm looking at for BPRO. However, this price action right now doesn't look that bad. There's a lot of stuff going for another pump here. First off, you have no bearish divergence on the daily, which daily is kind of a high time frame to look for bearish divergence. So let's go down to the 4 hour. Yeah, you had your 3 strikes. So you had a high here, the highest high in RSI. This is the 4 hour chart on BPRO. A higher high, but a lower high on RSI, which means down and up. So if price is going up, RSI is going down. That's the definition of bearish divergence, especially relative to little peaks that it makes. The peaks are going down on RSI. The peaks are going up on price. 3 strikes of bearish divergence. However, it's very possible that it already played out. Already had a 40% move down. So it might be ready to make its second wave on the 4 hour RSI. If I can get rid of the RSI itself and just look at the moving average, as long as Bitcoin doesn't start really moving down here, it looks like BPRO is going to make another, little dealie here on the moving average, which means its RSI will come up here like this again and make another significant push. And it's probably going to hit that box up at 2 cents. It might actually, you know what? It might hit 1.7 cents. Yeah, it'll probably hit 1.7 cents first. So BPRO could be about ready to make a move. This posturing does not look bad at all. It's a lot stronger than I would have anticipated for having such a nasty run, and with Bitcoin not looking so bullish in this moment, looking like it's out of gas. This reminds me of either a positioning in the middle of SYLO and or MTV's move between its blast off to its height. So I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been SYLO though. But there was a positioning of strength where I kept showing my viewers, hey, you know what? This consolidation looks strong. And I don't think it's actually going to hit my downside targets. And it was an exact example of me guessing a downside target after a pretty big move up, but it looked too strong. And I thought, nope, it's going to make another whole leg up. And it did. Let me go to SYLO first. So before I do that though, look at price and the posturing. And so what I want you to look at is, so first identify this is a big run, running out of steam because this run is smaller than this one down here. So the relative strength is decreasing at this point. Then this run, it kind of equated to this one as well. So you had 3 pushes, none of them got stronger, which means the relative strength is decreasing. 3 strikes of bearish divergence on the 4 hour, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. However, once that settled down, you had a 35% correction real fast and an extremely strong posturing right here. So it's a bunch of higher lows, regardless of higher highs or not. I'm not looking for higher highs. I'm looking for healthy consolidation, which consolidation, I guess by definition, means you're not making higher highs, but you're doing something, in this case, which is healthy. You're making higher highs. So if pattern traders were to try to do this, they would say some type of pennant, a decreasing slope of highs, an increasing slope of lows, and then you have some type of equilateral triangle. I don't see it like that. I just see it as a bunch of higher lows, and price is starting to converge, and tighten, and it really doesn't look like it wants to go down. It looks like it wants to make a move up. This looks like a strong posturing to me. So that's what I'm looking at, sorry. And let me go to SYLO real quick. See if I can find what I was talking about. There it is, right there. Oh yeah. It was SYLO. This section right here looks like what BEPRO's doing right now. Take a look at that. Series of higher highs. Even though it did squeak out a higher high here. But this looks pretty similar to what BEPRO's doing. And so in this case, SYLO was consolidating under a very important range, which was previous support way back when, and then resistance, and then it was consolidating strongly, making higher lows under resistance. And look where current prices. See that green line here? That means if I went right, price is here. So prices clearly use this as support there later, right? So previous support becomes future resistance, previous resistance becomes future support. So since this was previous resistance, now it is using it as a lot of support. Look at that. Wow, it used it as, that's actually a pretty good box. All right, so that's what I think BEPRO's doing right now. It looks like it wants to try again. Now, is this completely dependent upon Bitcoin price? Absolutely. But if Bitcoin price can stay stable, you know, above 41K, I don't think this is going to take a leg down. I think this wants to, this looks like it wants to pop up, folks. However, I personally think that Bitcoin will want to make a leg down relatively soon, so I personally would not try to play that. But the chart BEPRO only right now, independent of Bitcoin, says strong posturing, let's make a move up. So now you have my price target for the upside. I'm thinking 1.7 cents. And my personal favorite, where I want to, and price doesn't care about what I want, so it might not ever get here, really. And I've already told you why, right? 0.007, the daily 200. And I honestly think it has a darn good chance of bouncing off that and not ever looking back. However, if Bitcoin takes a leg down to 36, I want to try to catch BEPRO in this box, but I think it's probably, I don't know, if I had to guess, maybe 60 to 80% probable I won't have that chance. But this is what I'm personally looking for, with the idea that the daily 200 would be where I want to grab it. So if you're not familiar with the daily 200, EMA, it's right there, and I drew it out. And you got a golden cross. So, and kind of what I explained earlier, never came back down. So that's what I got for BEPRO. Let's go over to MTV here. Now, see how this posturing, you have, I don't know, more like it's a horizontal trading range. That's not bad at all. It's actually easier to trade than what BEPRO's range is doing right now with higher lows. But BEPRO's consolidation does look healthier than this. This broke through its general support area and closed several candles below it. And it's making a lower high and get rejected from this. This looks like it wants to come back down and try to prove this as support because it recently broke below it. I think MTV needs to prove that as a base because it recently broke below it down here. So I don't think MTV looks quite as strong from a posturing standpoint as BEPRO on the midterm and short-term sense. So that price target for me would be 0.0035. And I know that seems low to a lot of people, but altcoins move pretty fast. So moving down 40% really isn't a big deal. And that's 40%. That's actually a pretty good guess. So it could, just like BEPRO, this daily 200, which is this orange line right here, it's right at a horizontal. These candle bodies right there. MTV actually might bounce off that pretty well, 0.0041. So I take that back. 0.0041 would be my my primary most probable point at which to put some limit buy orders. And then if I were trying to pick up MTV, let's say I had $100, okay, I would probably put 70 of my dollars right at one level or somewhere, you know, straddle these orders, similar to the video to which I referred to earlier, the 20 bag area, or straddling orders, which is another video in my video library. I would straddle orders around this point 0041 with $70, and I would try to snag MTV with $30 with several orders down here with 30%. So that's how I personally would play MTV if you're looking to pick some up and you're holding Tether. Now, if you're holding it now and you're looking to sell to buy back later, I mean, the daily RSI is still above here. I don't know if I would sell actively in this moment to buy back lower. Let's see here, the 4 hour has 1, 2, 3 strikes of bearish divergence. Yeah, you could probably try doing a little something. It might be fairly safe to try to unload some now of your Pokemon MTV Pokemon cards and put in some limit buys around 0.004. Yeah, around 0.0045, something like that, down to 0.004. And then maybe try to get lucky with 30% of what you have here. So 30% of what you sold up here. So if you were planning on selling to buy back lower and you happen to sell now, which I'm not suggesting that, this is not financial advice, this is Pokemon cards and entertainment only, but I would probably use 70% of it to grab some. It actually might hit this trend line right there. Yeah, I would try to pick it up between 0.0047 and 0.0041. That's what I would do if I sold now. And if I had Tether now, I would still pick those same levels. So that's what I got for MTV. Let's go to SYLO. SYLO's been looking not that bad. It's hovering around its golden cross, which means in this case, given how see this box that I have, so this is my green box, I still think it'll hit it. But the good thing about what SYLO is doing now is it's testing immediately. It's immediately testing its golden cross instead of front running it, getting everybody bullish, and then coming back down to meet it as the daily 200 comes up here, something to that effect after a cross. It's hovering around it now, which means once the cross plays out, it could just blast off and never have to recheck it. So consolidation at a cross is a pretty good thing because you can be more confident that people aren't going to sell into that rally seeing that it was front run. Does that make sense? So what I mean by front run is actually perfect on the same graph. See how this orange line is way above the blue line? So when the blue line crosses, that is a golden cross. So this golden cross was front run, and actually it never came back down to touch it either. But usually assets will come back down to test that if it's front run. But this happened in the midst of the bull market in early March when everything was just skyrocketing. So that has something to do with that. Typically, if something front runs something in a not so nasty bullish market, it will come back down to check it. In this case, it's checking it now. This has a pretty good base to blast off of. I think my box, I don't know. I think it's too low. It looks like SYLO wants to hold this. Come back down, test it, get back above its 200 and really take off. This looks like a really good consolidation. How long has this been going sideways? 150 days. Yeah, I think this box was silly. I was being too bearish. I don't know if that's going to be hit. I actually kind of doubt it at this point, but I'll keep it there, you know, because sometimes when you change your mind in trading, you realize, wait, I should have just stuck to my original plan, especially after you see it play out exactly as you thought, but then you change your mind halfway through. Because you became more bullish than you were originally, something to that effect. So I'm going to keep that there. But my current opinion right now is that's too bearish. I don't think it's going to hit it. Even if Bitcoin drops, I don't know, 20%, I bet this holds that line and sticks right with it. So that's what I'm seeing for SYLO. All right, let's go to Veracity. Veracity looks identical to Bitcoin from a weekly perspective. Bitcoin's weekly red line, or the weekly 10 EMA, crossed below its yellow and is just now crossing above. Price went just a little below the blue line, which is the 55, which is what happened here. Sorry, my chart's a little busy, but if you can see these candles below the blue line, and you can see how the red just barely crossed below the yellow right here. That's exactly what Veracity is doing. So I think Veracity is going to follow Bitcoin to a T. So Veracity, you know, if you wanted to be trading Bitcoin right now, trading Veracity instead of Bitcoin could get you some bigger gains, especially to the upside. Because I don't know if you can short Veracity or anything like that, but it seems to be moving fairly on par with Bitcoin, with exception of today. Today, Veracity's up and Bitcoin is down. But Veracity has a big wick right here, so that's, in my opinion, down. That's the last of its move. So honestly, if I were holding Veracity, I would probably take profits if I had been buying down here, and I would look to buy back into this cross. I think Veracity's going to come right back into this cross, stay stable. You got this awesome horizontal here. So let me mark a cross here so you know that's where that is. The blue crossing above the orange, which is an EMA golden cross, not a technical golden cross, because it's golden crosses are typically, you know, by definition, with the simple moving averages, which I might pull up here in a second. But it looks like with that cross, you have a pretty good area of support. It looks like it's going to come back down there and tag that. So I would, if I were holding Veracity right now, just like when I said I would sell at this line that I haven't moved, so I'll put it exactly back. It's exactly back. I haven't moved it. And people made fun of me for 45 days. Oh, it's still going up, right? And those people never sold. But if they had sold when I sold, then they could have been buying it back lower. As I mentioned, it will get a 70% correction. So even if I bought right at 70, not the bottom, 0.016, and I sold at 0.0032, I sold at a price double from where I would have bought it back. I would have had twice as much Veracity. So if you're a Veracity holder, you know, and you saw that video where I said, oh, sell now, and you probably, you know, saw that people were making fun of me, oh, it's still going up. You know, how did you play it? Leave me a comment in the comment section. Did you get the double the Veracity, you know, per your game plan? Because my game plan, even though I'd already sold Veracity down here, something like over here, because I caught this breakout and I sold it for like almost 3x. It was insane. Yeah, yeah, I sold it about here for about 3x, 200% up. But I mean, if you were able to take this move and get double your Veracity, let me know, because that was what my game plan was. Sell there and buy after a 70% correction, which would have gotten me exactly double my bag if I had sold everything, which in this case I probably would have actually. But Veracity is looking pretty good. How long has this been going sideways? So everything's been going sideways 150 days. You got the daily I don't know. Veracity might actually keep going, folks. This says keep going. The daily looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie, but we got to flip time frames to see what's going on here. So let's go to the 8 hour, see what that's saying. So the 8 hour says losing some steam, but it might regroup. So this RSI, the relative strength, it looks like it might just want to be resetting itself base around here on top of all that area and then give another pop. This honestly could go right back up to these wicks right here, somewhere up here. It might make a small push up to 2.7 cents. Maybe. With Bitcoin potentially dropping, I would say it probably won't. But the chart of Veracity in and of itself is saying that, I mean, the 8 hour chart, it got back above its moving average, which is the white line. So the green is now above the white significantly. It's getting ready to check it. I don't know. This looks like it might want to do another pop before it succumbs to Bitcoin's downside. I would give it maybe a 50-50 chance of doing one more pop. Let me look at the 4 hour chart. I don't know. It almost looks like it wants to fill out the area of this price action right there with this wick. So it looks like it might want to hit the middle of this for another 30% move up first. It could do that. I would give it roughly a 50% chance of hitting the middle of this box. Because independent of Bitcoin, it says it wants to. So does it succumb to Bitcoin immediately as Bitcoin's moving down? Most likely, but sometimes alts will give a last gasp of air going, one more push as Bitcoin's falling, and then they succumb. So I could easily see this popping up to there before it moves down to this box. So this box, the range I have 1.51 cents and 1.4 cents. So so 14 and 15 with a 0 in front. It's a little harder to read. All right, so I've been holding Dash for a bit, so I'm going to cover Dash. It's a really good coin to have right now, folks, in my personal opinion. And since it is a large cap, my saying this, it's not like shilling, you know. My followers aren't going to be able to pump the price of this, maybe on the futures, but become a wick. But so I feel more comfortable saying this. I really think that Dash is going to make its way up to here or straight up to this next line. So I've been buying it since all this area, bought more here, bought more here, bought more here. I didn't buy below this line very much. I only did one small purchase, but the vast majority of what I bought is in this area because I didn't think it was going to hit this line. I thought Dash was going to do something what Viacoin has done, since they move pretty similarly. I thought it was going to come just shy of hitting that bottom line, which is what I think Viacoin did. Yes. So see this? This is what I thought Dash would do, but Dash actually broke below it. So on a structural origin line standpoint, Viacoin is doing better than Dash, which is good that I've held Viacoin since 18 to 24 cents back in 2018 or 2019 and 2020. But so this was my play on Dash. See how this origin line's here, and I was buying Dash in that box that I drew. I thought it was going to do the same thing, so let's go back to Dash. So I bought too early, but now I'm in profit, obviously. I don't know. Looks Dash might do something nasty here soon, folks. Because what I'm seeing, all of this consolidation before I'm just a insane, like it just crosses 1, 2, 3, 4. It crossed 4 origin lines after a very long consolidation. And let's start, saying the consolidations from here to there. 800 days. Has this been 800 days? Yes, it's been almost 1,000 days. I don't know. I think Dash is ready, folks. I don't know. It looks like it's poised to, whenever, even before Bitcoin is breaking all-time highs, I think this one's going to take off. And if it were, for example, to do something like this, break just slightly above the fourth origin line up, I mean, that would put it at $1,500. So that's what I'm seeing for Dash in the midterm sense. In the short-term sense, I think it's going to follow Bitcoin, and whatever Bitcoin's doing right now, I don't know, it's fairly uncertain. I really don't know if Bitcoin's going to make a last effort up to 51K before correcting or not. It kind of looks like it wants to, and I'll cover that in a video here after I upload this one. But I think if Bitcoin goes sideways confidently, let's say somewhere between 41K to 43, so Bitcoin's up here now, even if it comes like this, I think Dash is going to continue its trajectory up to this line at minimum. Which, if you wanted to know how to make this line, I would say go to the daily chart and connect, do your first line connecting bottoms like this, these three bottoms, all right? And then connect a couple of heights here, and then just make a bunch of parallel lines to it, and just connect as many humps with bottoms as you can. And then you'll see this last one naturally form parallel to it. It connects all these bottoms. Even though it went a little bit low, it connects these bottoms fairly decently. And I think it's going to hit this next one up, which is one. It used to be the lowest one. See, so see how this line was the bottom, and this thick red line, and then it broke through it, and I had to draw another origin line because it broke through, which I almost had to do on Bitcoin as well. But then Bitcoin closed right back above and never came back down it, unlike Dash. So I almost think this has the potential, to go possibly up almost to the same exact origin line that it had before. Let's pick one down though. So let's pick this line here. I'm just going to follow it up like this. And this could be on a single run, right? So I picked this line. I'm going to follow it to where Dash might hit it maybe by the end of the year. I mean, that would be $3,000 on one fast run if it does anything similar to what it did here. So let me take a fractal. Let me show you here. And this would mean Litecoin would probably go nuts too. See that? Hits that green line perfectly. The same type of fractal. Because this one skipped 4 origin lines, and I skipped 4 origin lines, but starting from one below her, so it's hitting one line below where it hit here. So this line here, if I follow it, is one above where my target is. Because Dash broke through one line and is positioned from one below, so 4 up would be this one here. Looking at Dash at, I don't know, about a little over $3,000 by the end of the year, potentially. I think it has the potential to do something nasty before the end of the year, make pretty insane gains. And I think Litecoin, if Dash were to do it, I think Litecoin would too. I personally do. Although Litecoin got a lot hotter than Dash, so it might not. Dash did not do all this. Dash has been hanging out here, putting in its time, right? So, when things put in its time, they can go against Bitcoin moves. For example, Quant, so QNT, it put in its time and went sideways throughout the entire, well, this doesn't have the price history that I was looking for. Why is the price history gone? Anyway, so let's just call this, February out here and March and all that stuff. So February through April, something to that effect. Quant was going sideways for over 100 days, made a small move up, went sideways. And as Bitcoin was falling, Quant stayed strong because it already put in its time during the entire bull run and didn't scream. And as Bitcoin kept going down in July, Quant has just made higher highs, broken all-time highs, is consolidating above the previous all-time highs because it put in its time. So similar to the idea of putting in its time, I think that Dash, unlike Litecoin, so I actually think Dash can make a bigger move on a percentage basis than Litecoin. Litecoin did not necessarily put in its time. Dash has put in its time. The entire altcoin market from February No, that's the last year. So from here to here, the entire altcoin market was, getting close to their all-time highs in price. And Dash just kept putting in its time in the lower area of its origin lines. So that's what I'm seeing with Dash, folks. I don't know. I've been waiting a long time for it to happen. It could end up a bad move. So this is absolutely not financial advice, but I wanted to explain to you what I'm seeing. And a lot of my trading strategy, which could be perhaps way less optimal than another easy trading strategy that is very similar to the trend is your friend. But what I like to personally do, because I've gotten burned so many times buying coins that are doing well, is I like to try to find coins that will do well, and I have a technical reason for it. However, so that's what I'm trying to do with Dash. However, I wanted to be very frank with you. In retrospect, and this is something I've discussed with my VIPs, kind of psychoanalyzing myself, analyzing my trading, where I've done things wrong, where my successes have been. And I think one of my biggest areas of opportunity, as simple as it sounds, and I know I've been doing this a while, stupid simple, the trend is your friend, but specifically within that, what I mean is things to the effect of these NFTs and meme coins. It doesn't matter if I think those coins are going to be here in the future. They are hot now. So do I have to go find one like Shiba Inu that already went even though it's way down now, but would I buy something 4,000% up? No, but I would probably see that the trend is meme coins and NFTs. Go find one that looks like in the middle of its move as opposed to one that hasn't started moving yet, right? Because I want to trade what is until it isn't. And so what I've been thinking about in my strategy is I typically try to find what is not that will be. And a lot of times I sitting on my hands for a half a year, right? Because I made a bet of something that isn't, and 6 months later, it still isn't, when I could have taken at least 2 months to buy what is hot, take my profits, and then buy what will be hot that isn't hot yet, like Dash. So I wanted to be very frank with you when I'm covering this. I wouldn't, if I were you, if what I said makes you want to go buy Dash now, I wanted to be very frank with you that statistically, there are better ways to get more Dash if you like Dash, getting things that are hot now. That might be tricky with Bitcoin and Ethereum potentially getting ready to make a correction. But in general terms, Dash is not hot now. It could be very soon, but it could be a better choice to take half of what you wanted to buy with Dash, move it into something that's hot now, maybe even Quant, I don't really know, some meme coin that you think's that is in the middle of a move, take profits quickly, double your money, something, and then get something, now I'm not saying Dash, but then buy a coin that has yet to get hot that you are convinced will be hot, and then you can buy a crap ton more. And that's a huge area of opportunity for me personally. As I've heard success stories from a lot of my VIPs, even that they don't believe in these meme coins, they don't believe in NFTs, a couple of them don't believe in NFTs at all, that have done the best. They just did it because they're hot now. And I realized, shit, you know what? Maybe I should only take about 30% of my portfolio to try to scout what will be hot, or maybe half, split it in half, do a 50-50 type of thing. And take this, get what's hot now, take profits quickly, and then feed it into my other half. So I wanted to leave you with that thought in specific regards to Dash, because I don't want to influence somebody just to go buy Dash now, because I'm personally pretty bullish on it, and then it just sits there for 6 months and doesn't do jack, right? Which it could easily do. I wanted to be very frank with you. I'm personally bullish on Dash, based off fundamentals, what they're doing in South America. It's a monetary coin. However, there might be better ways to go about it than what I'm personally doing, and that's what I got for you there, okay? And just to be frank with you, are there many YouTubers that, point out their flaws and say, don't do my flaws, even though I'm still doing my flaw, right? There could be a better way. I'm trying to be as honest with people as possible, so I can stay to my true north and help people have the most profitable crypto journey possible. Even if I am not taking full advantage of these ideas, I at least will express them, and hopefully I don't come across as some hypocrite. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm telling you things that I say because I think it's better than what I'm doing. I just haven't gotten to the habit of doing that. And so if you're newer to trading, your methodology might be more malleable, might be more formable, instead of being a stubborn son of a bitch like myself. So I thought I would give you my thoughts on that. All right, so let's go to MHC versus, so this, I don't know, folks, this this chart looks like it could really heat up, okay? Throughout the bull run, it moved in a very bipolar fashion. I don't know what's up with this. I mean, take a look at this chart. These were huge market buys. Sure, the person who spent 10 to 30 grand on this, yeah, they got screwed. It came right back down. But I think the person who bought, or the people buying this, I don't think this was some pump group. I think this looks like folks knew something, or it might be the founders buying their coin back because they know they're getting ready to that's actually what it looks like. Because before crypto projects are profitable, the founders have to sell their coins because they can't keep the lights on and pay their devs. You know, they literally can't not pay for lights because they don't make a profit yet, right? So they're essentially using your investor money to keep their project going. So devs and all projects pretty much, even Cardano, Charles was selling his, trust me, Charles was selling during 2018 and 2019 and probably 2020. Keep the lights on throughout 2020. This looks like founders buying the stuff back, folks. This is pretty aggressive stuff. And it looks like founders who don't know much about trading and they don't know how to look at order books, and they didn't realize, I'm going to spend 50 grand on buying my coins back, but the order book, you know, if I did that, I would eat up all of these limit sells, and I would go way up here to a point where it's like 150% above current price. Somebody didn't know how to read order books. So imagine all these are red, the limit sells. And I have a video on this in my library section if you want to take a look at it. And these are all the limit buys, the green stuff, right? So you could say, hey, up to here, price is 10% different. And from all of these buys together, there are only 1 million of the tokens, but I'm trying to buy 50 million. So I'm going to buy all the things way up here. And that's exactly what happened. However, when I see stuff like that and it happens more than once, I think it's because, I don't know, it's either early investors who had sold early and they want it back now, or the founders. This looks like they know something's going to happen later this year at the cost of turning into a wick. It looks like it was done 3 times. I don't know. So I don't know a ton about this MHC's upcoming news. However, if you wanted to have a cheat sheet just to really quickly, you know, scratch your crypto itch in terms of fundamentals, I would look at the page 6 of this white paper. It's kind of like becoming the Visa of crypto. This is what it's trying to do, or maybe more similar to PayPal, but it's more like Visa. It's trying to become a payment processor. And the way it does it, it's pretty clearly labeled on page 6 of its white paper, and that's what really got me interested in this during all this time here. I did end up selling in one of these pops, and I do not have this coin anymore. However, even though I don't like pattern stuff very much, but cup and handles do work out pretty well. It doesn't work out because it's a cup and handle, but cup and handles work out for other obvious reasons. So once this has a small correction, I think personally I'm going to try to get a little bit back, because since it's already flirted with this huge horizontal, I think it will consolidate under, come up, meet all-time highs, maybe come all the way back down, and then break out. And it could happen. You know, I think this could go on a monster screamer before May of next year, something to that effect. So let me show you here from here to there. I mean, that's 25 extra money, just barely breaking this. All right, and if you look at the structure of a lot of coins, I mean, they're going above their all-time high. And this is by March, right? So the way I drew this, it could easily happen, and that's a pretty big run. I think the current market cap of this coin is, I would peg it at, I don't know, 20 million, something to that effect. And I would also label it roughly a monetary coin, sort of. Let's take a look at it real fast. $36. Anyway, so I do not have any of this coin, but it's fairly similar in nature to SYLO. So SYLO and MHC, it's kind of interesting that their graphs, let's say if SYLO, actually cup handle, went just above this peak, let's see if that's about 2000% too. They might be structured exactly identically. Nope. So MHC's got a lot in it. That's what I'm saying. So this is only 300% up to that point, right? And it will struggle to get to that point based off of structure alone. Based off of structure alone. This wick is going to be a big deal. So you see what stopped this run? Look, stopped right at that wick. So MHC has the same thing going on. However, the distance to it is much greater, and that's gains. Distance equals gains, right? So I would take a look into that. All right, so let's do some TRIAS here. Everybody loving TRIAS. I do not own any TRIAS, so just a heads up. And I don't plan on buying any more in the future. I will probably stay in my OLT position, which is also a BAAS token. They're very similar projects. And I do own OLT, and I do stake it on KuCoin. So just a heads up, I want to disclaim I do not own any TRIAS. TRIAS look pretty strong right now. Shit. Its daily Stokes have been up here quite a while, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It can just curl back around and come right back up. I don't know. Its RSI looks fantastic. You just had 2 checks. I don't know. I think TRIAS looks strong enough where if Bitcoin starts moving down, it looks like TRIAS will make one more move up before it succumbs to Bitcoin. Like I'm almost certain about that one. This is, I think, too strong to quickly succumb to, let's say Bitcoin does end up moving down now. Let's just pick 41K. So tops out at 47.3, whatever it went to, Bitcoin goes down to 41K. Even at 41K, in that journey down on Bitcoin, it looks like TRIAS wants to hit this as Bitcoin's beginning its descent, and then TRIAS succumbs to it, maybe bases back down on this structure right here, which, actually right back down on that box. Or it could hit the bottom of this box, but I bet it would meet this structure. It's probably very top of it right there. So it looks like TRIAS might come to $11.60. So at first it looked like TRIAS was following. Actually, let me move this over. So it was following that. Yeah, I don't know. It put in a long time there. It could go a little higher. It could easily get like a 200% pop off this structure. Yeah, that's nothing. I think it's going to go higher, folks, actually. I think that's too low. Even with Bitcoin moving its way down, I bet it hits 50. I don't know. I bet it hits. It looks like it wants to hit this line before it even tries anywhere down. I think this blue one might be exactly what happens. I mean, look how well this has gotten it. From the move up, wick down, move sideways. I don't know. This one might hit 15 too, folks. So let me move these over, see how well they're doing. So so on the green one, I put in a little consolidation. And so you can see here, look at the difference between the green and the blue. So the green, see how this consolidation right here is shorter than the consolidation here? Or actually all this, right? So therefore, because the consolidation is shorter, I put the pop as smaller, right? Because it consolidated less time. So its pop would only go up to here. But because TRIAS put so much time in here, beautiful, like this is a posturing of strength. This is actually really good. As much as as much as it is to my chagrin that a lot of my community is into TRIAS, but it looks like a pretty good move right now. It's looking pretty good. I think it's going to go higher than what I anticipated on the green line. I think this blue line might get it right. That's a hell of a lot of consolidation, and I think it's going to get a good pop. So even if Bitcoin is, tracing down to 44K, this looks like I don't know. This looks like it wants to hit it. So that's my target. I would say lower end target 11.6, higher end target $15. Looks pretty good. And honestly, it can keep going. I mean, if Bitcoin, so for example, so in TRIAS's case, since it's looking so strong right now, if Bitcoin makes a fairly quick move down to 41K and this hasn't quite succumbed yet and it's just kind of hanging out here, and then Bitcoin goes up, this could be flirting with all-time highs pretty fast in that scenario. So let me say that one more time. I think that TRIAS's current positioning is so strong that if Bitcoin makes a small move down, let's say 15%, I think during the beginning of that descent down from here to here, TRIAS will want to move up, okay, and maybe succumb to Bitcoin when Bitcoin makes its last leg down, maybe to 41K. However, if TRIAS during Bitcoin's, let's say, descent from 47, shit, if I can write, 47, let me go to a different chart. If TRIAS does actually make a pop, and Bitcoin falls from 47K to 43K, but this last leg happens quickly, and TRIAS during that last leg does succumb, but not that much. And let's say it only succumbs down to here, and then Bitcoin recovers from there. I think that stop. I think that TRIAS could I don't know. I think it could be flirting with all-time highs relatively quickly. If that scenario were to happen, it could come right back up to $27 pretty quickly. And I would say by putting a little consolidation, that could happen by the end of September, middle of September. Actually, this could happen fast. So I don't own this. I don't plan on buying it. But like I said earlier, one of my biggest areas of opportunity is getting into things that are hot now and riding it until it is not hot. And I'm not good at doing that. TRIAS looks like a pretty good one to be holding right now. I'm not going to lie. All right, let's see what Tone's doing. Tone's being a dog. Yeah. At least it's put in its time, though. This is a lot of consolidation. So you got a couple consolidation boxes with Tone. You got here, and then you got here. Something... Actually, I wouldn't even do it that high. I would do it like this. These are just wicks past. So what I would be looking for here is I would take a guess that Tone will come up into this range. So I'm going to move it over, keep it the exact same size. And I bet it fills out that range for the same amount of time. Let's just extend it a tiny bit. For the same amount of time that's spent here. Including this wick pass. You know, you might be able to sell a wick here, which that would be a great sell point versus, this is Tone versus BTC. So BTC's been going up this whole time. Well, I mean, Tone's been making some good gains, even though it's going flat right now. But so if Bitcoin does good gains and Tone stays here forever, Tone's making awesome gains. So this is versus BTC. I want to make that very clear. If Bitcoin's going up and Tone goes like this, that means Tone's making great gains too with Bitcoin, right? So if Tone is like this and Bitcoin's screaming, well, shit, that means Tone is screaming versus the dollar and your money's increasing, right? But you're not trading against Bitcoin effectively, which is kind of the ultimate goal, in my opinion, even though trading against US dollars is kind of nice too. This looks like a nice consolidation period for Tone. I mean, I would say its consolidation started here, essentially. 800 days? Oh, wow. That's a long time. I might pick some more back. I might pick this back up, folks. I didn't realize that it put in so much time. That's just as much as Dash. Let me see if this trades versus the dollar yet. I don't think it does, unfortunately. No, just Bitcoin and Ethereum. What's the market cap on this? Honestly, And so this is a competitor with VeChain that's actually kicking VeChain's butt in almost every way possible besides investor dollars, which means market cap. It has, 6,000 customers, and VeChain reportedly has zero, still has partners, which are not paying to use its blockchain. If you go to Blocktivity, you see very clearly that that tone. And so I'm shilling this, but I don't own this coin right now, but I think I might once Bitcoin's targets are hit for me. Maybe 43K, I'll probably buy a little bit of it, but you can see here that Tone, it used to be the 10th to 12th most active, but Tone's blockchain is more used than XRP's. So out of all this XRP army, even trading XRP, that is the blockchain, right? Buying and selling is blockchain activity. Tone, look how little trading it has. $300,000 trading. So all of its blockchain activity is from its customers because it's a real blockchain, right? And so, VeChain just passed it. I've never seen that before. Well, congrats. So VeChain is highly traded. And so they'll look at the trading volume of VeChain. I'm actually interested. That's cool that it finally passed it. Good for VeChain. It shouldn't be less active than a competitor of like 30 million market cap. But look at its trading volume, 1 billion. So that trading volume could be essentially everything you're seeing on the blockchain activity, which is 201,000 transactions per day. Yeah, this is actually really low for Tone. Usually it has about 400 transactions a day. So they might have had a little coronavirus issues. They used to be way up in here. This must be low. There might be is there a way to go back in time here? So throughout the entire bear market, one of the reasons why I like Tone so much is because it was between the 8th and the 12th, no matter what, because it was hovering around 400,000 transactions per day the entire time. And it was more active than Bitcoin even, because Bitcoin during the bear market wasn't traded, which is most of this volume on the blockchain, which is trading, right? Because that's what, it's not a business, right? So there aren't businesses using a Bitcoin platform, right? And so all of Bitcoin's blockchain activity is by buying and selling, essentially, or transferring money, because it's a form of money. To be fair to Bitcoin, it's not a blockchain business, but it was Tone was more active than Bitcoin by far. Bitcoin's transaction volume was 200,000, 300,000, and Tone's was that. So just a heads up, Tone has put in its time, and once a large YouTuber, and this is something I said on my channel back in April probably, or even March. One of the reasons why I was making a big bet on Tone, and I held it to maybe 8x. So I sold about, I made 8x here because Bitcoin was flying. This was 8x in price. I think I put like $4 grand on it during all this time. And once I did an 8x, I sold it and I bought BEPRO, which I do not regret that decision at all. And then I sold BEPRO, bought SYLO and MTV, which obviously did very well. I traded altcoins very, very well. Even though I should have held way more Tether before that drop. And so I did not play that very well. However, this looks like it, from a chart perspective, has put in its time, could really make some nasty gains. But it's all about a YouTuber picking this up. Somebody much bigger than me, who has a larger following, who more shills stuff and talks about things because they bought it before they talked about it. Yes, they bought it before they talked about it, and then they show it to, 200,000 or whatever viewers or more. It only takes one YouTuber to talk about this and relate it to VeChain, and then all the VeChain people see the facts behind everything. Its blockchain is way more used than VeChain historically. Not today though, and which is the first time I've ever seen that below VeChain by one. That's kind of weird. That has more customers, this and that. It's a lower cap, so therefore we have more ROI potential. It only takes one, and then it'll get on the top gainers list, and more YouTubers are talking about it, and it'll just snowball, 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 snowball. I think this could be something like phenomenon, like almost like Theta or Harmony One. I think it could happen. All right. However, I want to be very clear once again. That is making the bet of what will be, not what is now. Okay? And so trading things that are now, that are hot, with more than 50% of your, money that you have reserved to try to trade altcoins is probably a wiser choice. So let's say I do end up buying some tone, I will not go all into it because it's not what is right now. It's what I think what will be. So I'll probably have between 3 to maybe 5% of my overall portfolio into something like this that will be. It's a bet for the future, not as writing things up now. So I want to be very distinct with that. I don't want to influence people to go buy an asset that stays stagnant for another 200 days while you could have made some money somewhere else. But those are my thoughts on tone. So this is more of an old school video. I'm going to go to Polk here. I do own Polk. I told everybody about this earlier. I sold BEPRO, or my unstaked BEPRO, which is much less than half my position for Polk. And I've done pretty well with it. But let's look at some Polk. I don't know. Polk is kind of looking like a TRIAS. This is the same exact type of structure, but TRIAS is about right here right now. It's made a green candle. So because TRIAS already started its ascent, Polk does have a much statistical greater likelihood, because it's under a huge resistance right now. It has a much greater likelihood succumbing to Bitcoin's down move and coming all the way down to something like maybe to this wick here. Next. So let's see here. But it could also easily come right back down to where these candles were hanging out and these candles were closing. So another, so in addition, if you haven't seen my 20 bag, I think it's actually called 10 bag. So go to my library channel if you haven't seen what 10 bag means, selling a portion to, if you want more OMI, you sell more OMI. But in line with that thought process, mixed with how you manage your portfolio, I'm taking a slightly different approach with Polk. So I am not going to be 20 to 30 bagging this at all. I honestly might not sell any of it unless maybe it hits this line. So I might 20 bag it there. But as of now, though, and I actually might not, my current game plan with Polk is throughout my other trades that are profitable, if I happen to have a coin that screams up, I sell, and Polk is going sideways or has made a descent down. If Polk happens to be in one of these two posturings, as opposed to a posturing like this that I sold, if I can sell an altcoin like that at profit while Polk is doing this or that, okay? So let me actually make these different colors. If Polk is positioned like one of these two areas here, going sideways or down, so sideways meaning it can scream pretty soon, down means it just took a dip, but I sold at a top, I would just keep chipping into Polk. That is going to be my plan, because I think this one, and the reason I made that plan for this asset is because I think this has a ton of room up, partially because of my strong bias towards BEPRO and its connection and its, I wouldn't say dependency, but a portion of BEPRO's plans and rollouts are dependent or tied to, I would say dependent, to Polk market. So only a portion of it, what it's trying to do, a very small portion. And I think as a third-party service, this could really take off. So I'm not going to try 20 bagging because I think that even though the whole point of 20 bagging is if you sell too early, 80% of your money is still going up. But I just think there's too high of a probability. It just, I don't know, it might go on a screamer just way past here. I might be fooling myself. I don't know. But for this one asset, I'm choosing not to 20 bag. Rather, I'm using 20 bag profits from other assets, or I will be. Now that I'm back home and I'm able to trade a little bit more, I will just chip in if it's structured flat like it is now, or has had a downturn of at least, 20%, I would buy it. Even if I think it might have more downside and I took profits, I would just buy it then. Just screw it. I'm good. I'm good trade. Sell something up and buy something low. That's all you need to do. Sell high, buy low, right? So that's my personal plan with Polk. And in terms of my overall portfolio, like how I, did pie stuff earlier, It's a horrible pie, but whatever, you understand what I'm saying. Let's say this is my staking. Let's say this is my trading. Let's say this is my HODL, like, you know, Deep Onion, Viacoin Dash, all that kind of stuff. So within the trading portion, I would actually do another sliver to where I have like a trading HODL position like Polk, where I actually don't trade it. I just buy it when it's low and HODL it from my trading profits here within this greater context of this right here. So it's simply another plan of attack within your portfolio during the time where Bitcoin is filling out whether it wants to make all-time highs. All right, let's see what else is going here. What else does the community like to see? Let's do some Dogecoin real quick. Dogecoin is going on a tear. I got to do some. I got to do a little bit of clickbait. Yeah, that's a pretty monster rejection. So for those of you new who are Dogecoin fans, if you just simply go to the week here, actually, let me get to a better chart. This is not the chart I want. So if you go to the week, and this is a basic rule, okay? And if you Dogecoin fans, if you've skipped to this, you didn't see the rest of the video, totally get it. Listen to what I'm about to say now. If you're new to this channel, what I'm about to tell you, I swear to goodness, it will make you so much more money. It's just drawing lines after clicking the W on TradingView. I promise you, and so most people aren't patient enough on a weekly scale to understand this because they don't have the patience, therefore they never see it. However, if you simply draw lines where you see wicks all roughly at the same point and or candle bodies, so if you zoom in to see what a candle body is, that's the body of the candle, that's the top body of the candle. This little thing here is the wick. See that little guy right there? See, or this is a bigger wick. See that wick? And this is a wick here. This is the candle body, right? So if you could see either or bodies or wicks going up about to the same line, you need to draw a line there on the weekly. And that's probably where price is going to go. Whether that's up or down, it'll become resistance and or support. So you can just go to TradingView, hit the line, hold shift on your computer. So I'm holding shift right now, click, draw it out, click again to end it, and you can just move this up and down until you see it touching a lot of stuff. So as you can see here, I'm lining it up with, and you can play around. You can just keep moving it and you can make multiple lines. I'm lining up here, 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 and that wick, okay? So it looks like Doge is having some trouble even before getting to that major resistance level, which is not good. So that's not good. This looks like it's going to be a lower high. So just structurally, it looks like maybe it's getting rejected from a daily line. Hold on. It must be. No, this is the line. It came up short. So this is going to have some downside. And I don't think it's going to give it another try here. Yeah, you really wanted to see it hit this line if it's gonna try to make a higher low than bust past. But if it makes a higher low here, it's gonna hesitate here, maybe go sideways, but could wick past and come back down on it. But it did not flirt with it, so it's gonna have to flirt with it after a higher low. So I'm saying some downside for Doge, maybe not that much because it's been one of the strongest assets in all of crypto. I would say this horizontal here would be my target. So you can see what I did here. I'm on the daily, not the weekly. So you can do the same thing on the weekly. You have this wick here, these wicks almost touching, all these candle bodies here, these candle bodies here, these candle bodies here, this wick right there, almost coming down exactly to it. That's a pretty powerful line. And it did consolidate under it, blasted through, did not get to here. So it's probably going to come back down here and group on this line before trying again. I think this is a pretty easy read. This chart's very easy to read right now, and it could break below this. So if Bitcoin goes sub 36K, it's going to break here, and it's probably going to go to where these wicks are right there. All these wicks lined up with these wicks, lined up with this wick, kind of that wick and that wick. So if Bitcoin drops below 36K, Doge is almost, I mean, it's a very high chance of hitting this line, which is at, oh, this is its damn market cap? Oh, son of a gun. Let me give you some, it's going to be the same lines, but it'll be the same lines. Just wait. I'll give you some price targets, though. Oh, I have my box drawn in here and never hit it. It still has a chance, though. It has until later this month. So let me draw those 3 lines in here again. So the first one was a weekly. Which I'm going to draw it at these candle bodies. 1, 2, yeah, 3 candle bodies is a pretty big deal. And it came up shy. So that's no bueno. Going to the daily, looking for daily horizontals. Because it came up shy, Bitcoin looks to be retracing. I would say it breaks below that one and comes down essentially to these wicks. So it might actually only wick down to my green box here. It could hold strong on this line. Actually, you know what? So see all these candle bodies here and candle bodies here. You know what? I think it actually might hold this line. So I'm going to put this line as green and thick. I think it has a strong chance of bouncing off that. And how big of a correction? Maybe 25% down to there. 18%. That's actually a pretty good target. I don't think this box can be hit. That's too bearish. I've been too bearish, folks. And then my second target, I would actually move this up to this wick. So see this wick right here? And that wick is of 23rd of May of 2021. That wick aligns perfectly with all this. It looks like it actually, so I would do this as my second target. And I'll keep it thinner but green. So these would be my buyback lines. And then if I were trying to sell Doge in the near future after buying there, I would probably sell in a small box between the wicks. So see where my cursor, I'll just draw it. So see these wicks here and wicks here and these candle bodies there, candle bodies there. I would make a box between the top of the wick and the candle body, and I would put limit sells. After having bought down at one of these lines, I would immediately, right after these sell, you know, after I were to buy, and now I hold more Doge, I would immediately put in, I would probably 100 bag that Doge, or maybe 50 bag it at least, and I would immediately put in limit sells between these levels of 46 to 42. So, for example, let's say you bought, I don't know, 10,000 Doge, okay? I would do something like split it into fifths and sell 2,000 at the top, 2,000 at the bottom, 2,000 in the middle, 2,000 between middle and top, 2,000 there for 5. So 1 at the line, 2 at the other line, and then 3 in the middle, spread out for all of the Doge that I bought down here. So I would split it into fifths and I would put it into this box. That's how I would play it. And then I would look for a move back down, you know, just some type of retracement, which might not be big, but, you know, once it goes down 50%, buy it back. And that's, so if you want Doge, you sell Doge. Now, in the 20 bag principle, yes, it is very possible Doge flies past this, which is why, if you haven't looked at my 20 bag, I think it's actually called 10 bag in the thumbnail, but you can apply whatever number you want to it, right? And once again, 10 bag means 10% of the Doge that you just bought down here, or that you hold in general after buying more, you would sell 10% or 20%. So 20% would be a 20 bag. If you sold 30%, that'd be a 30 bag of only your Doge. If you had Doge and Bitcoin, 20 bagging Doge has nothing to do with selling Bitcoin. You wouldn't sell any Bitcoin at all, for example, right? So watch that video, but I don't know. I would probably like at least 30 bag it at this line after buying down here. And that'd be a pretty darn good trade. Even at the top line, 60%, yeah, 1.6x your money is pretty solid. So I think I'm going to end up being totally dead wrong, way too bearish on this. Time will tell. Still got 11 days for this to happen, but it looks too bearish. So these are my new lines for Doge. And I'm going to wrap this BZACH up. I'm going to go to Viacoin real quick, give some targets here. So now that, so I use origin lines with, especially monetary coins with price history. And so Viacoin is playing between origin lines, which means I'm probably gonna have to use horizontals if I'm gonna give some price targets. So to the downside, if Bitcoin makes, you know, a 20% move down, I bet Viacoin makes a 25% move down. So does that hit a horizontal? 30% move down? Yes, it does. Hits that horizontal there. I would buy this horizontal right at 44 cents. So if Bitcoin truly does make it a cent down, I would not try to buy back at a origin line that I've drawn out. I would try to buy a horizontal, and this one looks pretty obvious. Yeah, it actually connects back here to this as well. See that? So actually, no, it doesn't connect very. Yeah, it does right there. I would say 43 cents. I think 43 cent would be a fantastic buy for Viacoin Pokemon cards for entertainment only, not financial advice. And then on the way up, though, I would pretty much just be selling origin lines. I wouldn't sell horizontals. That's not how it moves typically. I mean, as you can see, pretty much all moves hit an origin line. I mean, that's just look. It's not hitting horizontals. It's hitting origin lines. This one went significantly past it, though, but then origin line, origin line, origin line, right? Consolidated under the origin line, flew past it, came back down to check the origin line, origin line, origin line, origin line, origin line, right? So, so if you want to try drawing your origin lines, you know, maybe leave me a comment down there. Maybe I'll make a video just on Viacoin itself, so you can trade this. It's a very fun asset to trade. A lot of people say it's dead, it has no development. Well, actually, Bitcoin doesn't have any development either. It just has news about people buying it without any news about Bitcoin itself. So same deal. It does. Monetary coins don't really need news, so it's just easier to trade. And would something like Viacoin, and I do own Viacoin. I have for, you know, since before here actually, and I was accumulating about here in 2020. But so I do own this. However, it's fun to trade because the moves are pretty big, and it moves just like Bitcoin. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a Bitcoin light, but you make better gains. And that's one way to, you know, if you've been burned on leverage, but you want to practice trading and you want to get bigger moves in Bitcoin, something like this, or even Veracity. Veracity seems to be moving just like Bitcoin too. Veracity, Viacoin, if you can identify a coin that moves just like Bitcoin, but you want better gains, just trade that other coin. But be looking at the Bitcoin chart, like when you hit buy and sell, because you know that's going to be your signal to buy and sell, independent of what's happening on the Viacoin or Veracity chart, for example, right? That's assuming Viacoin and Veracity continue moving like Bitcoin. However, one thing though, once altcoin season does go, altcoins will fly past Bitcoin and do something like this, as Bitcoin is not doing something ridiculous like this. So there will be a time when altcoin season happens that Veracity, actually Veracity's already done this, but something like Viacoin, it goes on a 5,000 to 6,000% tear, which actually this tear is bigger than what BEPRO did, by the way, folks. This is bigger than BEPRO's tear. It's not as big as Veracity's tear, though. I don't think so. But it will go on a tear, and will have sold too early if you're trading, you know, just like Bitcoin. However, if you wanted to practice trading with a small portion of your portfolio, you don't want to use leverage, Veracity or Viacoin would be pretty darn good options. Or if you liked an asset that doesn't move, a lot of my VIPs, they like trading. What were they trading? Some of them were just straight up trading BEPRO for like 20% moves, and they just did it over and over. So just trading altcoins, as long as you're not buying and selling more than 5K at a time, because then you're going to move the market too much and you're going to get worse prices. You know, sometimes just trading altcoins, it can be trickier because it could take off and you've already sold and you never get it back, this and that. However, it's fun for trading without leverage, because trading something that moves faster than Bitcoin is just like using 3x leverage. It's the same dang thing, right? So that's kind of my suggestion to folks who have been burned on leverage. Just trade altcoins, especially now that they're going up. I think that's it. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Try to get onto on my Bitcoin video, and If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you do subscribe and you're new, let me know if you want to be a cryptillion or a crypto crackhead. Those are the two crypto pronouns that we have in this community. They are gender neutral and gender fluid, maybe. I don't know if I've ever woken up as a cryptillion, but I remain a crackhead. I'm always way too impatient. But let me know what you choose if you're a new subscriber, and if you're returning, help the algo. Leave me something in the comment section. Thumbs up, even if it's just you suck. Haha, whatever. Tell me I suck. Let me know. See you later. Help the algo. Talk at you later.